Hello and welcome to this Manor Lords Guide to Development Points. We're going to cover all 21 of the currently available development points, when and how to use them, as well as which ones not to take. So let's dive in. Before we go into specifics of each development point, there are two key things that I think are worth mentioning first. Firstly, you only get a total of 6 development points to spend in each region, so you'll need to think ahead and spend them wisely to make sure you're really getting the benefit. And secondly, once a development point is spent, it cannot be removed. There's no respecking here, so you need to be careful. As I mentioned, you can use different development points for different regions though. So if you're looking to build a farming region, a mining region, or a trading region, you can definitely optimize each region for that. With that said, let's dive into development points themselves. They're divided into 4 sections, which I have defined as food production and farming, trading, mining and smithing, and hunter-gatherer. These are just names that I've come up with to categorize them and know what to expect in each area. So let's start with orchardry. Probably not something you're likely to take on early in the game, but orchardry allows you to unlock the backyard extension of Apple Orchard for 50 regional wealth. While this does enable you to start producing apples, which is a nice variety in food, it does take 3 years for the production to really come online. So you'll need to build quite a few to have consistent harvests and always have apples readily available. I also recommend playing around with different size and shape orchards. I've built these long and thin ones here, but I actually recommend going a bit bigger in both length and width. If you unlock orchardry, you can also unlock rye cultivation. This allows you to create rye fields, which generally have better fertility than wheat. So if your region struggles with fertility, but you still want to make it a farming region, this might be a good option for you. We also have irrigation, which lowers the amount of damage caused by drought. Personally, I haven't taken this one yet because I haven't really struggled with food production overall, but maybe it's one to take if we get more development points further down the line. Next option is sheep breeding. If you're looking to increase the number of sheep in your town to help produce more wool or simply just to sell them, then this is a good option for you. Next, we have heavy plow, which I would arguably say is one of the most useful development points in the whole list. This allows you to add a plowing station to your farmhouse and assign oxen to assist with plowing. It really does speed up the process of plowing large fields, and they can bring crops back quicker as well. If you've already taken heavy plow, then you can also unlock fertilization, allowing you to use fallowed fields as a pasture, which quickly restores fertility. Do keep in mind that a field at the time of creating it will have a maximum fertility for each crop type, which declines as you farm there unless you fallow it. You can't use this method to reach 100% fertility for each of those crops. It will always max out at the initial fertility rates that you see when you build the field. Not really a development point that I've used personally, but if you need to have fewer fields to rotate with fallow and need them back as soon as possible, then maybe this is a decent option. And next in the food production and farming section, we have bakeries. I think this is a super useful development point to have. You can build artisan bakeries in your burgages, which will produce bread with double the efficiency of a communal oven. I've used this one in one of my regions and had an insane amount of bread available either to store or trade with my other regions or sell the excess for some extra cash. So I highly recommend this one. If you're enjoying the guide so far, please do consider subscribing to the channel. I have new guides coming out every Wednesday and Manor Lords Let's Play videos every week. So do be sure to check back for more videos. On to the next section, which is around trade, which currently has the fewest development point options available with just 3. Firstly, we have foreign suppliers. This allows you to build 2 different market stalls that provide either a passive income of firewood or bread. I took this development point on my first playthrough, but haven't found it super useful, honestly. So probably wouldn't take it another time, especially now that I know that you only have a maximum of 6 development points to spend. We also have a much more popular option, which is trade logistics. This means that unlocking a new trade route through the trading post costs 50% less. Definitely useful if you're looking to trade a lot, especially since it unlocks the final trade development point, better deals. Better deals reduces the import tariff that you pay by half. So when you're importing goods to your region, you'll be paying a lot less over time and creating a much more profitable exchange. Moving down then into the mining and smithing section. Firstly, we've got charcoal burning. This unlocks a new building called the Charcoal Kiln. This will use your firewood and convert it into 2 charcoal, which keeps your burgages warm in winter and a lot more efficient. Probably a point you might take earlier in the game to get through those tough winters when you don't have as many resources available, and also enables you to easily meet the demands of a much bigger city in the mid to late game. Unlocking that also gives you access to deep mining. This is a fantastic option for any mining region, which allows you to build a deep mine upgrade on a rich deposit of either clay or iron to extract resources infinitely. Remember that this must be a rich deposit and you'll need to build the deep mine upgrade before any of the resources gone out. I think this is a really useful one, so definitely do consider it. Next we have basic, advanced, and master armor making, all of which do very similar things. Basic armor making allows you to produce helmets, which can be used by any of your citizens. Advanced armor making allows you to produce mail armor, which is used by military units that are in burgage plots level 3. And we have plate armor, which is just to be used to upgrade your retinue's armor. This halves the price of the upgrade by producing it yourself, so you might save some wealth over time if you share this production with multiple regions. I think this is a good option if you're looking to build a really strong army which has a lot of retinue units in it, but this does also sell very well at the trading post. You can see here that I'm able to export these for 24 regional wealth each, which I think is pretty good. And on to the final section of hunter-gatherer. Firstly, we've got trapping. This allows your hunters to lay traps that provide a passive income of meat. I think this is really useful if you don't have a rich deposit of wild animals. I haven't really struggled for meat when I do have a rich deposit, but it's always good to have a surplus of food, especially used in conjunction with the next development point, advanced skinning. This enables your hunters to double the amount of meat that they harvest. Combine these 2 points with the hunting grounds policy if you have a rich deposit, and you'll have an endless supply of meat as long as you don't overhunt. Also in this tree we have pelt extraction, allowing hunters to collect hides from traps. I've not really felt the need to take this point yet, especially if you have a rich deposit. I feel like you get a pretty good income of hides generally. But hides are also very useful if you want to sell them as leather or also as shoes. There's some good opportunity for some profit there. Next up we have forest management. This doubles the capacity of berry deposits. I really like this one since berry deposits are seasonal. I think it's really important to get as much out of them as you can while they're in season. So this means that a regular deposit of berries will go from 64 to 128 maximum capacity, and a rich deposit will go from 128 to a whopping 256 max capacity. So you're never going to struggle for berries if you have this. And lastly, we have beekeeping and advanced beekeeping. So firstly, beekeeping unlocks the apiary building, which allows your workers to collect honey, and it states a maximum of 2 per region, although I don't think this is technically a limitation at the moment. As it stands right now, I don't think this is really worth taking since the output of honey isn't really worth it. Even if you just have one family to tend to it, you can get better food variety elsewhere. And there's also advanced beekeeping, which allows the apiary workers to also collect wax. There isn't any current use for wax, although it's likely you'll be able to turn this into candles in the future since they're already listed in the game. But right now, this point just isn't worth taking. So there you have it, a quick rundown of all 21 development points currently available in Manor Lords. Do let me know in the comments which ones are your favorites and what kind of points you'd like to see in the future. There's obviously a lot more room for these development points to grow and a lot of space for new development points to be released. So as always, thanks for watching and see you in the next one.